Hey everyone, it is Listen Up Santa Paula. I am your lovely host, James Lantine, followed by my not so lovely
John Marquez. Thanks, John.
That's the first time I did that.
I know. It is.
I know. Normally I tell you you're always handsome and debonair, but and we have our special guest over here, Tracy, who's writing notes. So not to be intimidated. Are you intimidated?
Kind of intimidated.
I am a little intimidated.
So make me a little nervous.
Wow. It's like, okay. So when I did, I was doing a workshop on budgeting, and my mom happened to be at the workshop. She was out visiting, so she came to the workshop, and she's standing in the back of the room, and she has this notepad, and I see her doing this, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, what the heck is she ticking? And at the intermission or during the break, she goes, hey, there's a couple words that I want to talk to you about. You use the word basically 17 times. And so she like hit me with this. So the second half, I'm going, so,
got you out of rhythm. There you go.
Yeah. Anyways, more of that therapy going on right after this.
Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible internet radio at roughedgefm.com.
There's so much going on in your community that even in this age of information, it's tough to keep up. This show will help. It's all about what's new, what's happening, and what's out there. So if you're ready, sit back and listen up, Santa Paula.
All right, so we have Tracy Hanna with us. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So with Santa Paula Trading Company.
Correct.
So a cool little store in downtown Santa Paula, and you're like the champion of downtown.
I love that.
I know.
I will take that up, but I love our downtown. I really do. So it's easy to champion that. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you notice, John, that she was like, okay, we started 4 minutes late.
Yeah.
And
I didn't write that
down. She's got a business to run. Come on.
I know.
She's
like, you said we were going to. I did an interview of a famous magician one time. And he's like, okay, so I need a list of the questions you're going to ask. I'm like, okay. And he said, now, how long is the interview going to be? And I said, well, we like to go about 40 minutes or 45 minutes. He goes, I'll give you 30. Okay. And I'm like, okay. And so before we started, he's like, who's keeping track of the clock? And I went, oh, I have a timer right here. And it was literally like 30 minutes. It was goodbye. Thank you for coming on. Oh, it was like done.
I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah. Well, you have to be really famous, though.
Okay. Well,
I mean, you are the famous person downtown.
She is
but
famous in our community now.
I know she is.
She's really elevating her status in our community.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So
thank you. Yeah.
So how long have you been the owner? Because Santa Paula Trading Company was a business that was established before.
Correct.
You came in.
It was established in Santa Paula in 2017. It was originally on 10th Street across from the Art Museum.
Oh, okay.
Created by Sierra Hall and Chris Hall, who also started Catalyst Church here in town. So a lot of people know them. And right around 2019, I heard rumors that she was thinking of closing down. And I knew the store just because I love shopping there. And so I met with her and had the great timing of taking over ownership in February of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
That's kind of like what we did. We moved in here.
Similar.
And then in March, it's like, well, that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Just invested and made this major life decision, and we were shut down. So that was because in December and January, when we were having these discussions, COVID was far away.
Yeah.
It wasn't it was here, but we didn't know it, right?
Right.
So,
to what level?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now, had you moved over to Main Street at that point too?
Yes, definitely.
So the move and everything was done.
Mm-hmm. Thank goodness, because what a great location. Just to be right there on Main Street, just across from Rabelais and El Capriccio, and now Red Smoke's right there, and Anna's Cider, and we have Lily Fields Vintage a couple doors down. So it's just a really great boom, boom, boom spot on Main Street.
It's a very vibrant block right there.
Yeah, and the shop, the setting of the shop has got a beautiful.
The building is
Oven, yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
It really
It's
is.
probably one of the more classic, nicely decorated buildings.
Correct. I
So-
agree.
And there's a plaque on the building, and I forgot what year it was built. There was something on there. That states that.
The plaque doesn't say the year, and I've worked with John Nichols to get a little bit more information about it, but it's right around the turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s, that a lot of those buildings were built, and it was a famous architect, Roy. What's that architect that did a lot?
Wilson.
Ah.
Wilson.
He's in the he's in one of the murals.
Yes.
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
murals.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wilson family
I
is very
just-
prominent.
Spent a lot of time voiceovering all those murals.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
very cool. So you're very familiar.
Yeah, got a lot of history.
Yeah, so it's
with
a
those
beautiful
murals.
building, and then a previous owner to who it is now went in and did a big retrofit of that building. The business next door to me, Vanity on Main, which is a very vibrant hair salon and beauty salon, which is beautiful. And then next to that is Appleby and Colwick Architects. And that whole stretch right there, they just did a really beautiful job.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I love the entry to it. And
Yes.
Yeah, and
So-
on that side, that's a lot of still the original buildings that are there.
Yes.
You go to the other side of the clock tower, there are some, but a lot of them have been redone. But for some reason, that end of town between Davis and 8th, those are still a lot of the original buildings.
Really?
Yep.
You know what I just learned? Before it was built, they were horse stalls. Where I'm currently located,
Okay.
Santa Paula Trading Company, used to be horse stalls, horses where you kept your horses. And then there was a big fire. Do you guys know what year the
Yeah.
fire went through downtown?
It was early in the century.
Yeah.
It came through and pretty much torched all that area.
Towards that
Yeah.
whole area, like
Yeah.
up to the clock tower.
to the
'cause
clock tower.
Tower
Mhm.
was there.
Yeah.
And so then that building was built after the fire.
Oh,
So
okay.
thank you, John Nichols, for all the
Yeah, I know.
information.
Yeah,
But
he's
it's
a
really
walking
fascinating.
encyclopedia.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting because you look at those buildings and the architecture on them is just really classy.
Mhm.
And then if the others were kind of rebuilt, they're built more in that kind of 50s kind of plain style. You know, there's not a lot of frill to it. It's just kind of like a plain.
It's utilitarian.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at some of them, some of the buildings like Casino 1912, they had that kind of look,
Mhm.
and then they tore all the walls and there's the original brick there. So I'm sure there's a lot of those buildings still there that are original brick, you know, kind of that style.
That they just
That
covered.
covered it. to-
Yeah.
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 So
So tell me a little bit about what Santa Paula Trading is about. What?
So Santa Paula Trading is primarily resale clothing boutique. And I say clothing because I get people wanting to resell their treadmills and their cameras and all kinds of
Oh,
things. People
wow.
want to trade. They see trade. So we're clothing, shoes, accessories. And that was, I would say, 90% of the business when I took over in 2020. And of course, through COVID, we weren't buying clothes. We were wearing our pajamas or less
Oh, yeah.
from
Yeah.
here up on our Zoom calls. So at that time, I transitioned and started bringing in a lot of local artists who sell their art in my store. I think I have over 30 local artists who sell with us, and also other gift items. So now, you know, my goal for Santa Paula in general, Santa Paula Trading specifically, but Santa Paula overall, is that if you have a birthday, an anniversary, or any kind of event, you don't have to leave Santa Paula to get what you need for a gift or for, you know, any item you need. You throw at a
Right.
party, whatever it might
Something
be.
unique and
Yeah, exactly. Not something you can find at Target.
right, right. So so the clothing in your store, is it all repurposed, or is it?
It's probably 95% resale. So we buy clothing from the public.
Oh,
You
okay.
could bring us your clothes. You know, I always tell people you kind of want to, well, not right now.
Oh,
I don't know if you get much for that anyway.
I needed lunch.
Just go to her shop and
Exactly.
swap a shirt out.
Okay.
There you go.
That's not quite it, John, although people do try to do that.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
So you can bring us your clothing. We do buy clothing from the public, and then you can get trade credit you can use in the store or cash for your items. And then we also will go out. My favorite part of the job is I get to go thrifting and find some great things to bring back for our store.
Oh, nice. And so you don't do it on consignment. You're actually
We
buying
don't.
it.
We buy it up front, correct?
Okay.
Which puts the risk on us we have to resell it, but it's a whole lot less tracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must make life a lot easier. They're
I think it
happy.
does. Yes.
You don't have to deal with the headache of,
Yes.
you know, what the item sold for. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Mhm.
And now you also have new things, and I guess that's a lot of the
The
kind of the gift items and stuff
right.
like that.
Correct. Yeah.
So and so who are some of the artists that you have in your store?
Let's see.
Is it like big paintings, or is it
You know, I have a couple artists. I have Arlene Vega, who a lot of people here in town know is she does watercolor, beautiful watercolors, and I have her paintings. I've had a couple other artists who do paintings, but a lot of it are smaller things. Candles made by Leah Newman, who's does Heritage Valley candles. I have a lot of jewelry, people who make jewelry locally.
okay?
A woman who makes sun catchers, beautiful sun catchers, beads them with crystals.
And you buy all the art as well?
The art, no, the
Okay.
art is done on consignment.
Okay.
So that's
So we
the
do have a
beauty
little
of
bit
it.
of tracking.
Yeah, a little bit of tracking with that. That's a great point. But it's so great because it allows me to provide such a variety of items for people that I'm not buying up front.
Right.
And then as it sells, I benefit, and then I get to pay out the artist.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of times when we think of art, we think of paintings, but art
Correct.
goes so far beyond that.
Yes.
And even magic is now considered an art form.
It is art.
art.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
David Copperfield petitioned Congress several years back.
Oh, it's official.
It's
legit.
official.
That's
Yeah,
really
before
cool.
that, it was never considered part of the arts.
Yeah.
And
It's a performance art.
yeah.
Yeah.
and so he petitioned Congress, and it got added. And
Yeah.
so
The list is endless for arts.
Yeah.
You look at
Yeah.
it, you go in the state of California when they were giving grants out and stuff, they actually had the list of who qualifies as far as art, and it's page after page after page of different types of art
Really?
Interesting.
and stuff that it's
Nice.
all considered art.
Right.
You know, even from just calligraphy and all these other
Mhm.
different things that you do, and just different forms of photography and
oh yeah,
different
Sure.
forms of magic, and
Yeah.
stuff. But there's all these different definitions. It's such a broad definition.
Yeah.
So it makes it more difficult, especially as a county, as they're starting to develop their arts consortium, and even here with our Art and Cultura collective, trying to figure out what qualifies as art within our community.
Mhm.
Well, Julie and I have always said that you can't find any industry, any business, any occupation that does not use art
Mhm.
as a form in some shape or the packaging that you make, the buildings that you design.
Mhm.
I mean,
Graphic
it's
design
it's all art,
yes, it's true.
and it's the first thing that gets cut when it comes time for budget cuts.
Well, even sales is an art form. You gotta
Yeah.
know how to
That's
sell.
a great point.
That's,
Well, John, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I did 20 years of sales in my previous job, so
Oh.
I know all about sales when it comes to that.
So, with Santa Paula. So, are you a resident of Santa
I
Paula as
am,
well?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
And how long have you been a resident?
I've lived here, let's see, I moved to Santa Paula in 2012, the year before my first daughter was born. So what's that, 10, 12 years?
Okay.
So barely any time.
Nice.
In Santa Paula standards.
She's
And-
still
and-
a newbie.
Yes.
Yeah. And what were you doing before Santa Paula Trading?
I was a school counselor.
Really?
I went to school. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in
Oh,
counseling. And I
Give me a second, John.
All right.
Well, you wondered what notes I was
Uh-huh.
taking.
So,
right?
yeah.
Bring that up. That opened a whole can of
I
worms.
bet-
Wow.
Do you want to lay down?
Yeah. John and I always joke because sometimes when we do the shows alone, it becomes a therapy session for me.
Absolutely. It's a form of art
Yeah.
therapy.
Yeah. So, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And-
So this was a 180 or 360, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. But so one of the things that I always enjoyed, it's funny because I'm doing these candidate forums.
Oh, yes.
So I'm filming. I did 2 of them now. I have another one on Thursday, and then we'll be doing Santa Paula's on Tuesday. Yeah, and it's amazing. There's actually a couple of them have mentioned, or a couple of times have mentioned about Santa Paula and the way that we do things, and
Oh, wow.
how that they should, mimic or replicate what Santa Paula is doing because Santa Paula's got it right. And
I love to hear that. I
Yeah.
think that's we talk about it at the chamber. It's sort of part of our mission is to be the guide for this is what we want to be in Ventura County.
Yeah.
To Santa Paula for how to do it.
But the great thing about Santa Paula, and the one thing that I always fear, because you listen to these candidates and what their vision is and things of that nature, and you think about it, it's like, wow, that could like change the dynamics in a heartbeat.
Yes.
And with Santa Paula, we're a small fish in a small pond,
Right.
so we become a big fish. And you get some candidates who come in and they decide that, oh, we want to get these big box stores in there, and they completely change the dynamics overnight of what Santa Paula is. And so listening to these forums, it kind of makes you realize how delicate our situation is, and how we as the small businesses and whatnot need to kind of protect that, and really pay attention to what's going on, because it's scary what some of these people have. For listening to them, it's like, wow, that's your vision.
What their idea is, and I think a lot of that, is as an outsider looking into Santa Paula, maybe that sounds great, but what makes Santa Paula so great is the unique downtown and creative things we have going on here, that we're not just like every other community and box store and that sort of thing. So it's kind of having a bigger vision of how do we grow Santa Paula but keep our unique character.
Right. Yeah, and we had one of the things that one of the comments or the questions to the candidates was, how do we make this a more business friendly place? And we just recently did a video for Santa Paula Connections that was on building and safety. You remember that video? And when I was talking with the director, he was like, it's not about saying no, it's about saying yes, and how do we get there, or how do we get to the yes?
Right.
And in this one other city, it was about saying no and then fighting to get to the yes.
Interesting.
And so it's because of our leadership that's causing that dynamic of it's even with the police department. You talk to the chief, and it's about how do we serve the community. It's not about going in and writing tickets and making arrests, and
that's a great example.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's about serving the community, being noticed, and sitting down and talking to people, and going into businesses, and
and they've had a huge turnaround.
Yeah,
in about 7 months.
And they're
Changed
doing
the culture
a
of the
great
department.
job.
Yeah.
Community outreach wise, they're doing an amazing job. I see them at every major event, even small events.
Yeah.
You see the chief, you see the commanders, you see officers.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference.
Yeah, and you get another chief in there, and then that dynamic changes.
Completely.
And it's like, so we have such a beautiful model that other cities actually aspire to. And I mean, I think it says a lot about who Santa Paula is and what we stand for, and the fact that small businesses have such a great voice. And you're very active in your community, and and you make sure your voice is heard. About the downtown. And
right. And again, it's because I said earlier, I love it. I
Yeah.
love this town. I didn't know. I came into this not as a business person, so I didn't really know what I was getting into. And I
Okay.
did not know that I would love it the way I do. Really.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
It's really become a part of this next chapter for me. So I really love it, and I want to share it with more people and get more people to come to Santa Paula to spend their money
Yeah.
to help us fix our roads and do all the things our sales taxes are doing. And that's just one of the challenges, I think, is getting more people to know about us, know what's going on here, and come visit. People who do love it.
Yeah,
And then come
it's amazing how many we had, I think for the first time in probably months, we had a Santa Paula family come to the escape room. And so I always ask people, where are you coming from? And they said Santa Paula, and I went, what?
That's really interesting.
Because there are so many people in Santa, and it's like, no matter how much social media you put out there, no matter how much you advertise in the paper, no matter how much you think you're doing all the right things, and you still go to places and it's like, we have an escape room.
Yeah, you'll never get everybody.
Yeah.
It's always a challenge. when
We
you
have a
market an
magic
event
shop.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know Deirdre and Nancy really want us. There's a building that just opened up across from Gather and Play.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, oh, we got to get you down there because, we got Gather and Play, the toy store. We'd have the magic shop
Let's
and the
go
escape
play in
rooms. And we'd
Santa
have
Paula.
yeah.
Actually, that reminds me of a marketing slogan we've been working on with the chamber is, let me see if I get this right, eat, shop, play.
Correct.
Santa Paula. And we're going to really start pushing that out, especially with the holiday marketing. Eat, shop, play, Santa Paula.
I think they got that from the Heritage Valley. What do you think?
Is it from there?
If you look at the Heritage Valley website,
Yes.
is eat, shop, play, stay.
Yes.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I've seen variations of this in many different places.
Yeah, it seems to be
really
kind of the buzz.
Encapsulate all the great things. And I love the word play.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, that we have the gather and play. You can go and play board games, and we have magic, and we have escape room. There's so many ways to play. We have the rail bikes.
Yeah.
We have hiking. We have so much here. Yeah.
And it's because one of the things when people come here, we get mostly people from out of the city.
Interesting.
A lot from like Moore Park, Thousand Oaks, Santa Clarita, Oxnard. And so when they come here, the question always is, what else is there to do? We're here. And it's like, well, you got to go visit the downtown. We got great shops. We got great restaurants. Rabelais tends to probably be the number one place that if people research, it's like, where are you going to eat? Rabelais. So they really have a good market for people being aware of. But, we have Gunsmoke Barbecue, and we have the great Mexican restaurants and the Draft, and so there's tons of places to go eat, and there's tons of places that have unique shopping. So it's don't just come spend an hour and a half with us. Spend the day and hang out downtown.
Exactly. Spend the day, spend the night.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting more and more people kind of, come local tourists because they're coming from LA, they're coming from Santa Barbara area, they're coming from Santa Clarita, like you were saying, and just for a little weekend getaway.
Yeah.
Or an overnight getaway.
Yeah.
And it's a great place for that. And it's interesting how you said a lot of people come into your magic shop are coming from out of town. I experienced that even in our downtown. That a lot of local Santa Paula families will come in and say, oh, how long have you been here?
Really?
And it's been years that
Yeah.
we've been in that location on Main Street.
Yeah.
And people are either not coming downtown or just they go from the one place they know to their car and back and not really exploring. So even in our local community.
It's probably more that because people know they got to go shopping. They'll go to the grocery store. They got to go buy a large job. They'll go to outside big box stores and stuff. They don't realize there's a lot of stuff here that they don't have to go out of town.
Right.
They just buy it here. So, and that's one thing we got to get better at educating our public and promoting it more. And I think we're starting to see an uptick in that because we're getting more people downtown right now. We are.
Yeah.
There is an uptick on it.
And the other thing I think unique about about exactly what you're saying, John, I get people who come in all the time and say, there was a woman a couple weeks ago, hey, I was looking for essential oils. And I was asking around and people thought you might have them at your store. Well, no, I'm sorry, I don't, but let me order for you. And I do that on a regular basis where that's what people are looking for. Great. Let's order that and let's have that. Let's provide that for our customers.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's kind of a unique thing of shopping small in your own local community.
Yeah. Yeah. And with Santa Paula Trading being such kind of a diverse store as far as what it has for a collection, it's not like you're locked into, that's kind of outside of our box. And
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fun.
Yeah. And, I think as a society, we've become so accustomed to having a mission, and it's like, okay, I need to go get this, and they get it and they come home, and it's like, I need to go do this instead of let's go take the weekend and just go to somewhere and find out what there is and just do things, let's experience the day and not just be like, I got to go to Santa Paula Trading. Now I'm done. I'm going to get my car and I'm going to go somewhere else. Right. It's like, hang out and explore.
Sometimes you get your blinders on and you just focus on that one thing.
We're all just like, we're all ADD.
So busy. It's just a busy world right now too. There's just
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like the cell phones. Remember back in the day, you'd be outside having a picnic, your inside phone would ring, you're like, the answer machine will get it. Now it's like, oh my God, it could be my agent.
You panic when you're on your phone.
Yeah.
Oh Oh,
Yeah, if
yes.
you don't have your phone, you're like, oh, I just went outside naked.
Yes, exactly. Luckily, I
It's
live close. I've had several times. I live close enough to my shop where I realize I don't have my phone, and I have to run home and get it.
Yeah.
How do we survive?
Right. Exactly.
Even people when they call you, then you don't answer. They call you back and then they're in a panic.
Yeah.
Like, well, you didn't answer back. I'm like, well, was it important? Not really, but it's just
Yeah.
So it's just
It's like text messages.
yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Hello.
Can't always answer them.
It's like, give me a break. I'm in a
Give me a
meeting.
minute. Yeah, I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah.
It's just a fast-paced society that we live in now.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, social media is a beautiful thing, and it's also the detriment to society.
Yes,
It's a
exactly.
blessing and a curse.
Yeah, there's so can people order things online at your store, or is it all in-store shopping?
I have a really limited amount of things available on my online store. You can purchase my Santa Paula trading gear. I have t-shirts, tank tops, onesies, hats that can be purchased. I also sell some of my Avarca sandals, which are one of our top sellers. It's one of the new items I do bring into the store. Those are online, but most of it is in store. And the challenge is we're getting new things in every day.
Right.
And if I were to post it online, it sells online. Well, it could have sold in the store.
Right.
And even things, because I do post on Instagram, and I've had people say, I want that. And they'll Venmo me right there on Instagram for it. And I have to make sure, oh, wait, let me make sure it didn't already sell between the time I posted it and the time you responded.
Right.
So that's challenging about the resale world. I'm not getting in 5 of this dress or
Right.
4 of these pants.
Well, it's kind of like we had Donna in last
Right.
week from Lily's Vintage, and she said the inventory is always changing, and the same thing is with your store. So you can go in one week, and the next week you'll get a completely different shopping experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have customers who come by and just do a lap once a week because they're looking for something. Like I have a mom right now looking for cowboy boots for her daughter. So I said, just come by because you never know what we're going to get in.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of a small store, a small business.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's always changing.
That's true.
That's right. And our shop is too secretive, so you
haven't had to change it because nobody comes in. Right?
Yeah, I know. It's not that bad. Wow.
It is a hidden gem, though.
It is.
If anyone who comes in, it is wow.
Yeah.
The inventory you have here is amazing. All the different things.
We
It's
actually
really cool.
we have one of the biggest magic stores probably in the country,
I believe it.
because most are these little corner stores, and everything is packed into about a 300 by 300 square foot space, and
Right.
we have the theater and we have
Right.
the open space, so
And that's the beauty of this space. But it'd be so cool to have you downtown.
it would be. We're working on it.
Okay. good.
We're working on it.
Few empty buildings there.
I know
Yes.
the one that's across from Gather and Play is actually for sale, which is what we've always said. If we were going to move, we wanted to own the building because we've been burnt way too many times with the whole
Yeah.
rental thing.
Yeah.
But
It has those cool windows too, doesn't it? So
yeah,
put some
the
really
display
neat
windows and-
displays in
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
so it's only 1.2 million.
Nothing.
You wanna
You want a loan?
yeah.
Big
So-
partners there.
Yeah. Wanna chip
Santa
in?
Paula Trading's not doing that well. I wish.
There's a big empty building across from Tracy that you guys can kind of partner together.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of possibility there too to do a few different things.
That
It's big.
you'll never see one business go in there.
No.
In the
It's too
gym.
big. Yeah,
It was
within
the gym.
We
It's the Santa
actually
Paula
were
Fitness,
looking at that
yeah.
because our vision was to develop in the interior a village, and a Norman Rockwell village. And so each one of the villages would be different escape rooms and
That
classes.
would be so cool.
And then there'd be a theater in the back.
Yeah,
And
because there's space.
so
for all
we
of
could
that.
take on that whole thing, but we just need about $5 million to do it.
That's all.
John, want to whip out that checkbook?
I wish. Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
see if I could get $1 from you and
Yeah.
$1 from you, and then 4,999,998 will be there.
That's it.
Go fund me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see what that gets.
30 seconds or less. What's going on?
Tomorrow night we have Taste of Santa Paula.
Yep.
That'll be our 3rd annual. We have 12 businesses or 13 businesses scheduled to be there, all local, and that's part of the chamber's sponsorship or chamber support of this event. We have I think we have about 15 businesses that we're bringing in. So all the proceeds that are coming into this event, we're giving back to the local businesses. So it's a really cool event. It's a good night. It's from 5 to 8 o'clock, $45 to get in. You get 6 tasting tickets. All the proceeds from your tickets, net proceeds will go to the businesses, all back to the businesses. So
Nice.
it's up to them to promote the business. And so when you go, they're going to try and bring you in so they get more tickets.
Right.
So that's the whole point. So,
Right.
But yeah, please support our small businesses. It's a great event. We also have cruise night the next day.
Last one
of the season that runs from 5 to 8. We have a band on under the clock tower. I think there's going to be some entertainment at Anna Cider. So there's a lot of cool things going on for the last cruise night. Over 200 cars there. Please support our small businesses. They're all going to be open. They're all going to have great things to available to shop and eat.
and we're going to be
So, yeah.
we're going to be going down because last cruise night it was way too hot and there was nobody in the street, so we're going to be going down. Our improv show is moved from Friday to Saturday this month,
Good.
so we'll be at Saturday. So I will be up on Tracy's roof.
There you go.
That's right. If you're looking for James.
Yeah.
Well,
Taking
it'll be a
some
little
pictures
warm, but not
and-
as warm as
No,
last
nothing.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah, good 10 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
And then one last thing we have is on the 8th, on Tuesday the 8th, we have our candidates forum. That starts at 6 o'clock. It's at the community center. We have our District 5, our Mayor Leslie Cornejo. We have Christina Ailar, and we have Tim Eubanks. That'll be the first up on that, and then that'll be followed by our school board district forum. And then right after that, we're going to have a discussion on Measure R, the upcoming initiative here. There'll be some representatives for Measure R and against Measure R. So
Nice.
the cool discussion. It's free. We are going to record it. So
Mr. Singer said it was going to be streamed.
I know I heard that, but I don't know if that's possible. Possibly live stream, but it will be recorded. So
I mean, I can live stream it to the Chamber YouTube page.
We could,
Yeah.
we could do that. But anyway, join us in person. You can ask questions. You can submit questions. We're partnering with the League of Women Voters, so they'll be moderating. David Barron will be doing that. So yeah, please join us. It'll be a very interesting discussion with having school board, council, and a measure that's really important for this community.
Nice.
That'll be great.
So,
yeah.
Tracy, any last thoughts? Right over there.
I love the Taste of Santa Paula. That is such a fun event. I didn't realize how much fun it would be. And you get tickets and you can take them to all the different restaurants and bars and get whatever you want. And then just a big push for our holiday season is coming up. I know it's October, but October means it's almost December. So just wherever your community is, and if it's in Santa Paula, please support local this year. Businesses are struggling. It's a tough economy. And you're going to be spending money anyway. So please spend it in your community.
Yeah. All right. With that, that's another episode of Listen Up Santa Paula. Thank you, Tracy, for coming out. It was great to see you. And I'll be up on your roof on Friday. And we will see you all next week. We have, speaking of gather and play, we're going to have Deirdre and Nancy in next week.
Excellent.
So
that'll be fun.
they've been afraid to come, but
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Anyways, we'll see y'all next week. Stay safe.
This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.
We still need